Hello YouTubers, I want to welcome you to another edition of Bargain Bin Gear. And, well, you know, I've always looked for amplifiers, used amplifiers, especially tube amplifiers. You know, considering that a deluxe reverb, you know, is going for, what, $1,400 new, right? Princeton reverb's at $1,000, you know. So these tube amps are super expensive. However, I went looking around, you know, especially locally, just to see if there was anything around. And I saw this ad. And it was a full-blown 22-watt tube amplifier. 2-channel 1x12 combo with reverb. And even comes with a foot switch. The price was about $280. So I thought, well, listen, if I can get a full-blown tube amp for, let's say, $250, right? I'd do that for sure. And so I contacted the guy, and he accepted my offer. And it's a Bugera, right? V22. Now, hold on. I realize that Bugera is owned by Behringer, right? And for those who aren't familiar, Behringer also owns TC Electronics and a few other brands. And if you've ever seen the video of the plant in China, that is the Behringer plant, it's huge. I mean, it really is worth seeing a video on that on YouTube, you know. Just the plant is overwhelmingly huge. In any case, Behringer is known as kind of cheap electronics, you know. However, the Bugera V22 is a all-tube amp, right? And new, I think they're about in the $500 range. So anytime you can find them used, you know, for the $250, $300 range, right, they're a real bargain. One, because of the clean sound, and the second channel is an overdrive channel, which I don't really use anyway. It's got an effects loop and so on. It's a full-fledged tube amp, and I'm playing through it right now. as you can tell, it's got a superb, clean channel, right? Okay, so here's what happened. Basically, I bought the amp on a whim, kind of, got it home, plugged it in, and immediately got this really great, clean sound, right? And, well, for the price, it's a real bargain. I mean, it was basically $250. But that's for a full-fledged 22-watt tube amp, all tube, you know, and really quite simple, you know. But I mean, it's got 3-band EQ, presence, you know, and it's got a master volume as well as a gain, right? So really a great deal, you know. And let me tell you something, I was quite skeptical, quite frankly, wondering, man, I don't know, you know, that's Bugera is kind of, well, that's Behringer, you know. However, I hope you've been following the channel, because I often revert to older videos. I did a video where I purchased another Behringer item. It was a Europower P550M PA head that I actually use as a bass amp, basically. I run a bass cabinet. And I mean, it's 250 watts per channel, and I think it was like $200 brand new, which is crazy when you think about it. And I mean, it sounds, you know, sounds great. It's just, you know. All right. So anyway, I was really pleasantly surprised. I mean, this thing sounds great. Plenty loud, very clean, no overt hissing or anything like that. I mean, it's what you would hope a tube amp would be, you know. And we can take a look at it here. So there it is, right? And there are the controls. You have an on, off, and a standby switch. You've got 2 inputs, you know, speaker built in, and also allows you to do 16 ohm, 8 ohm, or 4 ohm, right? And you can use external cabinets with that, you know. And depending on whether you like it cosmetically or not, I think it looks pretty darn good. I guess really the only con, I guess, is it's a little heavy, right? It is a little heavy, but you're not crazy heavy, you know. In fact, I like it so much that I would not hesitate in getting a second one. And I just found the sound quality is just so good, really. Now listen, for the price of a solid state amp, right, here you're getting a full-fledged tube amp. So you get that really nice warm kind of guitar tone, you know. And I should mention, I'm running through my pedal board here, which is adding some reverb and things. And I'll bypass all that so you can hear just the amp. Okay. Obviously, so it sounds a little better. I mean, it does have reverb built in, and it's an okay reverb. It's not the greatest, I don't think, but I also think it's not the worst. Marshall DSL 40C. Just saying. You know, as far as reverbs go, yeah, there's just nothing I don't like about this amp. And yet I was very skeptical, you know, hearing bad things about Bulgarian things. And I'll tell you what, there's nothing more than a disappointment is when I try to play the clean channel, right? And instead of a nice clean sound like this amp has, right, it's kind of this early breakup, but not in a good way, if that makes any sense. Right? In other words, it's not really clean at all. You know? And that, to me, is very disappointing. You know, because I like a clean, tube-driven sound, I guess, is what I'm saying. Whereas I find solid states to be very harsh in a way, you know. And that's when I switched to tube amps. And man, I haven't looked back, I'll tell you what. In fact, I even have some hybrid amps. I have a solid state power amp and a tube preamp, right? But man, I would trade one of those for one of these. Full tube. And yeah, the sound is just great, man. Just a great clean sound. Wow. Yeah. And I mean, people say, oh well, you know, it's a Bulgara though, you know, this kind of thing, so it can't be good and blah blah. I say baloney to that. In fact, I wonder if I don't prefer this to the Deluxe Reverb, really. You know, it's a much more expensive amp, and it has a nice clean sound as well. You know, but I just like this one where it's real crystal clear. Takes pedals very well. I remember a long time ago I did just a stupid YouTube film just for fun, you know. I had just gotten my camera, and so I did search for the Indiana Yeti. And so I needed theme music, you know, for a certain part. So I came up with this little ditty. And it would sound great with this clean sound, just... For 250 bucks, are you kidding me? I mean, that's just a great, clean sound. At least, I mean, to my ears, that's what I hear. Now, granted, not everyone's buying an amp, for the clean sound. But for me, that's the first thing I check, is a clean sound. And if it doesn't have a clean sound, then to me, the rest of the amp is worthless. And I've had a few amps like that, that were much more expensive than this amp. And I got rid of them for the very reason of the clean channel just was terrible. Whereas here, for 250 bucks, I can't believe it. In fact, if you think about it, I've got some, as I mentioned, some hybrid amps, right? And that's the problem with these hybrid amps, right? They make the preamp a tube preamp, but the power amp is the important thing, and they make that solid state. Well, that's crap. Excuse my French. But it should be the other way around, right? Solid state preamp and tube power amp. Okay? That makes much more sense than the other way around. At least to my ears. But to think that for that price that you can get a full-fledged tube amp with this kind of sound quality, it is hard to believe. And I realize it's Bugera, and it's Behringer, but I'm really quite impressed. In fact, I would recommend this to any guitar player, especially for the price. You got to remember, a tube amp these days is going for quite a bit, above $500, easily. I even saw a Marshall 40-watt tube amp, and it was going for $9 something. They had a used one for $749. Whereas this one is like $250. Well, you can't argue with that. That's just crazy. You would think that a $250 tube amp, would sound like crap. Like those little bitty tube amps, and certainly wouldn't have reverb on it, or an effects loop, or presence control. Most of the time, Most of the time it's just a tone and volume. So, wow, what a big surprise, one of my favorite amps is the Fender Super Champ X2, which is also very inexpensive as well. And it has a really nice, clean channel as well. But the Bugera kind of gives you a bigger sound. Maybe it's the wattage, 22 watts, As I recall, is about the same wattage or similar wattage to a deluxe reverb. I wonder if they didn't look at a deluxe reverb and say, hey, we could do something like this. I don't know. But for the price, it's really a bargain. If you run across these and you're looking for an amp with a great clean channel, I'd highly recommend taking a look at the Bugera V22. Now, I think they have two models, the V22 and the V22 Infinium. And the Infinium is kind of a more up-to-date version It has a different speaker, for instance, and things like that. Like it has a self-biasing tube thing going on, kind of like the PV. Yeah. That's the Infinium. I think this is just a V22. You know. So far, no problems with it whatsoever. I'm really impressed with it, I have to say. And I haven't even tried the overdrive channel, you know. For me, I don't really use that anyway. I mean, if I play distortion, I get it from pedals, you know. But I plug my pedal board right into the front of the amp, and not even using the FX loop, and it's great, you know. But that's because I use only the clean channel, which is what I was interested in the first place. So yeah, I'm kind of knocked out by this amp. It's really great. I mean, and that clean sound is just fantastic. Synthesizer sound. That's quite loud, actually. And that's the other thing. I mean, this amp can get really loud, and yet on the clean channels, it can still stay clean because you have the master and then you have the gain control as well. You know, so yeah, there's just not much to not like about this amp, quite frankly. And man, what a bargain! Wow. You know, in fact, I can't remember an amp, except for the Fender Super Champ X2, where I was really blown away by the price versus the sound quality. You know, which is surprising. You know, because I had always heard, oh, Behringer, you want to stay away from them and stay away from Bugera as well, right? But I think in this case, that would be a wrong idea because it just sounds great. So there you go. That was a bargain find. Yeah, as I said, I wouldn't hesitate to get another one. You know, play two of them in stereo. Wow, that would be cool. You know, and can you gig with these? Absolutely. Plenty loud, you know, and still get a quality sound. I guess the only thing is it's kind of heavy, you know, unlike the Fender Rumble bass amps. They're super light. So this one, yeah, it's quite heavy. But the sound quality you get in return is worthwhile. Alright, wanted to show you that. And so if you run by one of these, check it out. You may really like it. Alright, very good. See you next time. Okay, bye.